For the judicial candidates for the Court of Appeals, 9th District. If you have any questions from the audience that you'd like to ask orally, please move to the microphone in the center aisle. But we'll start with a written question. And the question is, what makes a good judge and what makes you a good judge? Okay? What makes a good judge and what makes you a good judge? Ms. Moore?
I would say that experience, education, the opportunity to understand the human condition. I came to the Court of Appeals having served as a trial court judge for 15 years in the Akron Municipal Court. And during that time, I had the opportunity to preside over thousands of trials, both trials to the court and trials to a jury. Before that time, I served as a prosecutor, a federal prosecutor in the United States Attorney's Office for 8 years, an assistant Ohio Attorney General for 3 years, and a private practice attorney with the firm of Buckingham, Doolittle, and Burroughs for a little less than a year. So I brought 8 years of experience, actually 12 years of experience coming onto the bench, and a total of 33 years as a lawyer. And I've come to the end of my time.
Thank you. Ms. Carr?
Thank you. Am I on? Okay. I also have been on the Court of Appeals for over 12 years now, and I am actually the senior judge on the court, and that's not based on age, it's based on length of service. So I just like to clarify that. So obviously experience is important, and I think that your background, your experience, all those things matter. But I was asked this question when I first started running for judge 15 years ago before I became a judge. And I answered the question this way. I said, common sense and integrity. And the person that asked me the question, who happened to be an editor on a newspaper, said, well, isn't knowledge of the law important? And I said, and I still feel today, knowledge of the law can be taught, but you can't teach somebody common sense and integrity. And I think we need more of that on the bench and in public service in general.
Thank you. Ms. Whitmore?
Thank you, and thank you for coming tonight. A good judge is someone who has both life experiences and legal experiences that contribute to integrity and to the fidelity to the law. I have 28 years of legal experience, 13 years as a trial attorney, 3 years as a trial judge, and now I've been privileged to serve for 12 years as your judge on the Court of Appeals. I also have experience as an Air Force veteran, and that taught me teamwork, leadership, self-discipline, and a little bit of courage. I am a mother and a grandmother. That taught me love and humility. I have served on the Supreme Court Board of Commissioners on grievance and discipline. That is a volunteer job that almost takes as much time as my regular job. I do a lot of traveling to hear cases that have been filed against judges and attorneys who do not live up to the ethical obligations. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's move on to another question. To what extent have you practiced in the areas of criminal law, family law, or civil litigation? Again, to what extent have you practiced in the area of criminal law, family law, or civil litigation? Ms. Carr?
Thank you. My background, actually, I started out at the Summit County Prosecutor's Office as a clerk in the appellate division. Then I was actually assigned as a prosecuting attorney in the civil division, where I handled every type of litigation that could come before a court. Then I also prosecuted criminal cases. So altogether, I think there's been very rarely a case that's come in front of me that I haven't at least had some experience with in my practice. Now, of course, I've been on the bench for 15 years, handled thousands of cases, and like I said, I'm the senior judge on the Court of Appeals, so very, very rarely does there come an issue in front of me that I've not had some experience with. I didn't realize it at the time, but whenever I started out in the prosecutor's office, I said, you know, we always don't know what our future holds, but sometimes God puts things in front of us that we don't even know what it's about. But it was just the best experience in the world that I could ever have, I think, in order to be a judge. So also I wanted, oh, thank you.
Thanks. Ms. Whitmore?
In criminal law, I had no practice in criminal law before I came to the bench. I learned the criminal law as I was a trial judge, and I was privileged to have good qualified prosecutors to help me along the way. Now, of course, I have great experience with the application of the law, criminal law, as we review the cases. In civil litigation, my 13 years started in small civil matters, defense work, and gradually over the years I took on large, complex class action lawsuits, and the subject matter was pretty much all over the map between banking and mechanics, and that gave me an opportunity to expand my skills in computers, because the kinds of cases I had required computer assistance. And with respect to family law, my experience on family law was not on the trial bench because I was on the common pleas court.
Thank you. Ms. Moore?
I would say that the 8 years that I served as a federal prosecutor in the United States Attorney's Office gave me the opportunity to handle both civil and criminal cases. During those 8 years, I tried to conclusion cases before every sitting federal judge in the Northern District of Ohio in Cleveland. And so it was a phenomenal experience. I often say that trial practice in federal court is very unforgiving, because the judges there are appointed for lifetime. And they are, it's a special breed of individuals that you are practicing before. I had civil litigation in the law firm of Buckingham, Doolittle, and Burroughs, where I did primarily insurance defense work, defending physicians and hospitals pretty much all over the state of Ohio. I had a limited, okay, end of my response. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's move on to the next question. Do you think that all people have equal treatment in our legal system? If not, what can be done to improve it? Again, do you think that all people have equal treatment in our legal system? And if not, what can be done to improve it? Ms. Whitmore?
No system is perfect. We are human beings on the bench, and we make mistakes. But we try to know ourselves and to keep our own biases and our own preferences away from our opinions. There is a judges' school that gives you an opportunity to learn the role of the judge and to learn and understand who you are and what you think. And in our system, all of us try very hard to make the best decision we can under the very difficult facts of each case. Equality is not mechanical application of the law. Experience, judgment, wisdom, and discretion come into play, and those are our basic tools to make the playing field as equal as possible for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Moore?
I think that we do, as Judge Whitmore said, we do work very, very hard to know ourselves as individuals, because we're given just an incredible responsibility to decide the most important issues in the lives of people who come before us. Are there differences in terms of how individuals are treated? I'm sure that they are. Some of them are systemic. Some of them have to do with the individual's opportunities for retaining an attorney, the amount of money that people make, and whether or not you have counsel appointed to represent you absolutely plays a factor in the access that you have. But we are called to put that aside and to look at every single case that comes before us, making sure that every party comes in on an even playing field. And I believe that we do that.
Thank you. Ms. Carr?
Thank you very much. First of all, let me just say, just for clarification purposes, we three that are sitting up here tonight are not running against each other. All of a sudden that just entered my mind, so I wanted to make sure that you all realize that we're colleagues on the bench. But in answer to the question, I do agree with everything that my two colleagues have indicated. I would expound upon what Judge Moore indicated, though, about access to the courts in regard to equal treatment. The ones I think that are probably the most left out are just the average Joe citizen, the middle class, because if you're indigent, then you have court-appointed counsel in criminal cases. If you're very wealthy, obviously you can afford an attorney, but the people in the middle are the ones that it's very difficult for whenever they get into the court system. Now that doesn't mean once you're in the court system, just like my colleague said, we have an obligation and we try very hard, and I think we succeed on our bench at treating people equally. Sorry, I wish I could go on, but I can't.
Thank you.